Hello, today I'm going to talk about a lesson plan I put together on how to create a sea creature using your handprint. I chose grade levels K through 2 for this, and it should take about an hour, I'm assuming, to do. So with this lesson, I will have the students read a book, which I chose some of the books. The animals we will research will be octopus, whales, sea turtles, and starfish. So I'm going to separate the class into 4 groups, and each group will be assigned a single book, and they will research and read all about their animal. And then once they're done researching their animal, we're going to come back together as a class, and then I'll explain the art instructions. So as we get into the art instructions, some materials that you'll need before you start are your watercolor paints, acrylic paint, some white paper. You will need the books as a reference. You'll also need paintbrushes, little water cups, paint trays, and preferably an apron so the students don't get messy and paint all over their clothes because these can stain the students' clothes. So as each student researches their animal, they'll just learn all the things about it, and then we will use their handprint to look like the animal. So, for example, this is one of mine, and as you can see, this is a whale, and I just added a little bit more color of it swimming in the water and like the sun, and so I gave it more of like the ocean look. And then I also chose to do an octopus, and it has like the fingers are the tentacles, and it's not super lifelike, but I think it's really fun for the kids to do. I did this project with Tammy, and she chose to do the other animals, which were the turtle and the starfish. So that's why you don't see all 4 that I have done. Through this assignment, some of my objectives are discovering their own individual creativity. I will want them to experience a new fun method of painting. I want them to see that you can use your body parts as art, and I want them to experience a painting technique without the full use of a paintbrush. Yes, I did have to use a paintbrush for a little bit of the assignment, but it wasn't strictly a paintbrush. I also was able to use my hand and my fingers and stuff like that to paint. And then the art part of this lesson, the vocab, I would like them to really understand the difference between acrylic paints and watercolor paints, because those are both very different things and you can get a whole different look using different paints. So, some safety precautions you would like to go over with your class before you start this is make sure that they don't lick or eat or anything with the paint. Make sure you really specify what the paint is for. So if I'm teaching the class right now, I would say something like, please make sure you keep your hands to yourself when there's paint on your hands. Please remember not to put it near your mouth, near your face. Please don't touch your clothes with it. Something along those lines. Just really emphasize that paint is not like a toy. We're using it for a learning purpose. And then one thing that is not really common but thought I should add is just making sure that they don't take big whiffs of the paint because they may become lightheaded, and we do not want any students to have an allergic reaction to any of the paint, which also could happen. So an alternative for that student who may be allergic to the paint would be maybe putting on a rubber glove and then putting their hand down on the paper, or we could even just have them color it with markers or colored pencils and stuff instead. The other subject that we are integrating into this assignment is science and how they are researching their ocean animal, and also a little bit of reading. I mean, these books are fairly simple and shouldn't be too hard for these students to read, but they will have to understand exactly what they are reading and what animals they're reading about. So we're kind of mixing in a little bit of reading and science. So I'm just going to go over step by step what I did for my lesson, and I hope you all enjoy it. So the one that I'm going to do is the octopus. I'm going to talk about this one. So I just took a piece of white plain paper, as you can see, kind of on the back. It's supposed to be plain white, but the paint kind of went through. So I just took my paintbrush with the watercolor, and I did blue all over the back. So I painted it blue, and then I let it dry. And then to get a little bit of an oceany color, I've just put a little bit of green on it. Then after that, I let it dry. And then as it was drying, I squirted the paint into the palm of my hand, about a quarter size I had to use, but with kindergarten through second graders, they have much smaller hands, so you probably wouldn't have to use as much. But I just would squirt a little, and then I would paint my fingers with the paintbrush, and make sure I filled every crevice of my hand. And then I pressed my hand down on the paper, and then with my other hand, just kind of pressed my fingers like this along with it. That way my fingers, I could have like a full fingerprint and it wouldn't cut out, because I know our hand's not perfectly flat. And so after I let my handprint dry, I added the little suckers or tentacle circle things, I don't really know what they're called, and I added that for a little bit of texture and to make my octopus look a little more lifelike. And then I also put on the bottom, then just with my finger with the acrylic paint, I put on some like weeds and stuff that you could maybe find at the bottom of the ocean. And then I just think these would be really, really fun to hang throughout your classroom and just really give your classroom color. And choosing 4 different animals also gives a variety in the classroom, and not everyone having the same type of thing hanging. And then everyone's also will be very different, because they are allowed to decorate their backgrounds however they would like. So I think that this will be a really fun and interesting project, and students will learn a lot from it and also really enjoy it, especially at these young ages. So that is all I have for today. So thank you very much.